In November 1938, the Polikarpov Design Bureau received the task of developing a heavy fighter, but due to the heavy workload of other fighter projects, it wasn't until some time after the start of World War II in 1940 that the chief designer was appointed. Later, the TIS heavy fighter was developed. The TIS is a fully metal cantilever two-seat twin-engine fighter, with a slender fuselage and twin vertical tails mounted at the tips of the lower horizontal tail. The first prototype was known as the TIS-A, and it made its maiden flight in September 1941. The aircraft has a tandem cockpit with a sliding canopy on top. The pilot and another radio operator/gunner are seated back-to-back with an armored plate separating them, possibly to protect both from being injured by a single bullet. Other parts of the cockpit are also likely to have corresponding armor for protection. The aircraft is well armed, with two 20mm cannons mounted at the wing roots. Some sources mention two 20mm cannons and two 12.7mm machine guns, with 350 rounds per cannon and 400 rounds per machine gun. In addition, there are four additional 7.62mm forward-firing machine guns in the nose, with 1,000 rounds per gun. There are also plans to install a 7.62mm machine gun each on the rear and belly of the aircraft, for the gunner to operate and attack enemy aircraft approaching from different directions. The fighter has the ability to carry ammunition, with the capability to mount a 500 kg FAB-500 bomb under each wing for ground attack missions. The designer planned to install two AM-39 engines inside the pods under the wings, but since these engines were not available at the time, the TIS-A was actually equipped with the 1,400 horsepower Mikulin 12-cylinder AM-37 engine, driving the Vish 61 SF 3-blade propeller. The aircraft uses a rearward retracting landing gear, with the main gear stowing under the engine nacelles, and the tail wheel retracting into the tail. The aircraft performed poorly in tests, with an expected maximum speed of 634 km per hour at an altitude of 7,400 meters, but achieving only 554 km per hour in actual tests. The engine could not handle the heavy weight of the 5,800 kg heavy fighter, and the stability of the aircraft was very poor. At the time, due to the relocation of Soviet industry caused by the Soviet-German War, and the inability to find a suitable engine, the progress of this prototype was slow by 1942, with related work being shelved for a long time. In the second half of 1943, a second prototype was manufactured, known as the TIS-MA. This aircraft improved on power, using the more powerful AM-38 engine, which could output 1665 horsepower. This improved the low-altitude flight performance of the fighter, but the added weight still made it difficult for the engine to handle. The aircraft weighed approximately 6,260 kg empty, and only achieved a maximum speed of 535 km per hour, with a maximum altitude of 6,600 meters. However, in terms of weapon configuration, the TIS-MA seemed excessive, with four 20mm cannons mounted in the nose, and two 37mm cannons mounted on the wings, with plans to install two 45mm cannons. The rear-facing belly machine gun was removed, and there were plans to upgrade the caliber of the 7.62mm machine gun on the dorsal position, while the ability to mount underwing weapons was retained. From the start of the design, the TIS heavy fighter was plagued by engine troubles. At the time, the Soviet Union did not have a suitable engine available for powering the aircraft. In the summer of 1944, due to the death of Polikarpov, the design work on the TIS was stopped, and the TIS-MA was severely damaged in a landing in September and was not repaired. However, at this point, there was no longer a need to develop a propeller-driven fighter, as jet fighters were the future. If the TIS had obtained the necessary engines 2 years earlier, it might have been able to enter production and service during World War II.